So a couple days ago, I recorded a video titled "The quote unquote Free Palestine Movement is a Scam." And in that video, I essentially highlighted how much of the activism around this quote unquote Free Palestine movement was nothing more than virtue signaling or, this sort of collective hive mind, leftism looking to couple themselves with others who were anything other than godly and Western and white. Right? The whole movement is based in deception, lies, and a lot of stupidity. A lot of people just don't even know the basic facts about any of this. I mean, most of the people in that video couldn't even name the date when a quote unquote Palestine was established. Now, in this video, I want to approach the very same sort of headline of the quote unquote Free Palestine movement is a scam from the side of Palestine itself. Now, if you've watched my recent videos, maybe in the last couple months or so, you've noticed that I have called it so-called Palestine, or I put quotes up, these little air quotes right here for the word Palestine, because I've come to the understanding that there has never actually been a Palestinian state. It has never been a nation. It has not been recognized by those around them, not just the Jews, but literally everybody else around them. I'm talking about their own predecessors, their ancestors. But who has recognized them are the likes of an Osama bin Laden, right? Who actually praised them in their efforts to execute upon their overarching goal. And I use the word execute intentionally because their goal, turns out, is to actually execute people who are not Muslims, who are not a part of this Islamist jihad fantasy of executing everybody who is unlike themselves, starting with the Jew. So yeah, essentially Palestinianism is the ideology that underlies all of Islam at its core, fundamentalist Islam, as they say. So I'm going to go ahead and get into a video of a brother who is going to explain this for us in a succinct way. A man who knows more of the historic context than even I do. I love to learn this way in real time as much as anything else. So let's go ahead and get into it.
There was never a Palestinian state. Unfortunately, over the last few years, this whole narrative spread because of ignorance and a lot of propaganda that there was at some point a Palestinian state and that the Jewish Zionists came in and took over this state and kicked out the natives. None of that ever happened. The land in question was thousands of years ago called the Land of Israel and continuously since then. When the Romans took it over, they managed it as the province of Judea. In the 2nd century, due to a Jewish revolt, they renamed it into Syria Palestina to suppress Jewish identity. The Eastern Roman Empire maintained it as Palestina. With Roman Christian culture taking over the West, it was introduced into the West as the region Palestina or Palestine. The Muslim invaders and conquerors and the empires, however, changed the name over the years and referred to it by different names. Only Great Britain, when they took over the region from the Ottoman Empire at the end of the First World War, temporarily referred to it as Mandatory Palestine. To them, this was supposed to be a temporary state, which was to be turned into a homeland originally thought to be for the Jews. Under the British Mandate, the Jews of the region referred to themselves as Palestinians, and the world referred to those people as Palestinians. At this time, the Palestine Post, or the Palestine National Football Team, or the Palestine Symphony Orchestra were formed. All of those were Jewish. In fact, the Palestine Symphony Orchestra turned into the Israel Philharmonic Orchestra. To the Zionists, however, the term Palestine was a foreign name because in their own culture, in their own language, and also in biblical terms, the land was known as Land of Israel for so long. So as soon as they had the chance to establish their own independent state, which was guaranteed by the United Nations, they named it Israel, which was also, by the way, an official name acknowledged under British Mandatory Palestine, which was also called Eretz Israel, Land of Israel. Arab leaders never really acknowledged the whole Palestinian identity until the 60s, and eventually until the 80s when it was firmly established that the Arabs wanted to go for a Palestinian national identity, for which they have been fighting ever since, which is why Israel, the original modern state of Israel, was established or re-established in 1948, while the modern nation state of Palestine was only ever declared in 1988. Before that, there was never a state called Palestine led by Arabs or by Palestinians. And Israel certainly did not destroy or replace one. In fact, they showed willingness to acknowledge a possible nation state in the region by the Arabs, if they ever intend to create one. Unfortunately, they prefer to fight Israel and destroy Israel instead, which they never achieved, which is why they are fighting to this day. So history is clear. There never was a Palestine.
So, if there is no actual Palestine, then what is this all about in the first place? Well, the simplest way I can put that is this: domination, control, and essentially destruction. They want to dominate the Jewish people. They want to control the Jewish people. They want to destroy the Jewish people. And once they're done with them, or at least they suspect that once they're done with them, they will continue forward into the rest of the world, meaning the rest of the Western or quote unquote secular world from their own perspective. Now, they've already been killing thousands of Christians, and that's just in modern recent history. That's been in, I'm talking about the last couple of decades, right? We're not even spanning back to the 60s, to the 40s, to the 20s, etc. We're talking about from the 2000s on. They have been massacring thousands upon thousands of Christians. And most recently, eliminating hundreds, if not upwards to 1,000 plus of the Druze people in Syria. This is Islam. Palestinianism as an ideology has the very same intended goal. Now, this is not to say every single individual in Gaza has this same level of religious devotion to this idea, but it is to say that a majority do. And that's why you have Hamas with so much support behind it. That's why they haven't been ousted from that position, is because many of the people are in support of this evil ideology. Now, notice I don't say the Muslim. These people are evil and bad people. But when you take upon you an ideology such as that, a dark and demonic, and let me break that down. Because yes, that word is getting used a lot and by me as much as anybody, but let me break down why it is demonic. It is evil in the truest sense of the word. The mass murder, execution, elimination of innocent lives, that is evil. That is evil. That in and of itself is enough. To want to destroy and eradicate an entire people group, that is evil, no matter who those people are. Now, again, the lie that has been sold to the West is that Israel is looking to ethnically cleanse these people. That is a lie. That is a lie. The truth is this. These people want to eliminate the Jewish people. The Jewish people are protecting themselves and looking to eliminate the people who want them destroyed. It's like, those old ally forces who went against the little mustache man himself. Who would you consider being in the wrong in that one? Would it be option A, Himmler? Or would it be option B, the people who took him out? Now, if you happen to be a part of the cult of Cuckoo Candace or the cult of Catarlson, you may very well say that the little mustache man was indeed misunderstood. But in reality, he was an evil force looking to dominate, to control, and to destroy. Steal, kill, destroy. That was him. And those who opposed him were looking to stop him. Not saying they were perfect, but they were looking to stop him. Therefore, it was good versus evil. Hamas and those who stand behind them, including the Western fools who wave those Hamas flags up high. Those fools right there are the epitome of evil. They are. At the very least, they're in celebration of it. At the very least, they praise it. They lift it on high. Here is my flag. Here is what I stand on. I stand with a terror jihadist organization that opposes all of my current rights as a human being, that opposes the will of the true living God. That's what I stand on. And so therefore, if you consider yourself as a part of that, whether it is through your religion, it is through your political beliefs, etc., you have aligned yourself with evil. Now, all of us have the option to separate ourselves, to flee, to have nothing to do with. We have that option. But what is that going to take? It's probably going to take being one of the only people in your inner circle, outer circle, greater community that is not willing to go along with the propaganda, the lie that is so much easier to go with. That's why the Holly weirdos and the rest go with this, along with their own devious motives at times. You also just have, they want to be a part of the easy thing. What is the easiest narrative to go along with? Well, it's not supporting the Jew, who we have been told through and through throughout prophecy that there is going to be the world to turn against you, Israel. Nations, kingdoms turned against each other. And it all centers around this little old place here, once called Judea, established as the kingdom of Israel. Its center, Jerusalem, the ruling place of kings such as David. That old place, that little place right there, that place has some significance. And what we're seeing right now is so much bigger than politics. It's so much bigger than what meets the eye. We're looking at real life prophecy playing out. I know it's, for the folks out there who believe this to just be a religious quotient or whatever, that's okay. That's perfectly fine. You can simply view it through the eyes of politics if you want. But if you were to just view it from there, I would ask the question, how has it been such an accurate documentation of everything we're currently witnessing? And how have these people right here, this tiny little group of people, been able to withstand attack after attack? Whether it is attack in the physical sense, the emotional, mental sense, how they just not given up and said, you know what, it's not worth it. Maybe if we just wiped our hands of this whole Zion idea, maybe we'll be better off. No, instead, it persists, it persists, it persists, it persists, it persists, and their enemies fall. Whether it be Hezbollah, whether it be Al-Qaeda, whether it be ISIS, whoever it may be, fall. Nation after nation, kingdom after kingdom, those who stand against them fall. It's interesting, to say the least. It's interesting that there are those who are dedicated to destroying them, and yet they fail at every single turn. And, to many of my Jewish friends out there who are thankful for my advocacy and things of that nature, I mean, you're welcome. But I'm going to tell y'all, there's a very selfish aspect of it, if I can call it that, which is I know what this is about. Y'all are written into that book. People get mad at the word chosen. Chosen doesn't mean the only. Chosen doesn't mean it's just you who is saved and you're special. It doesn't even really mean special. Chosen just means you had a job to do. Prophecy had to come through this lineage of people here, out of this group of people here. That's all that means. That's all that means. But I understand the historic context of that as much as I understand the spiritual quotient of that. And so there will be lies, there will be deceit, there will be those who are, marked up against you, and it won't work. It really won't work. People think I'm paid off because I'm willing to stand with the Jewish people. How much does that show you? When you're standing with the truth and they believe you have to be paid to say what is actually happening, that's when you know the deception has taken over. But that deception will never be more powerful than what stands. And many have turned their hearts against God, including in Israel, including many of the Jewish people, as much of the world has. And we all continue to be offered the opportunity to come back home, to come back home to our Creator, to come back home, to align ourselves with the Word of God, to align ourselves with the Word of God. It will continue to happen as many times as I've strayed and been led right back to where I am right now. That's why y'all hear me. I'm ferocious in my approach now, because there's really nothing that can stop me. I don't care for the approval or the validation of man, woman, or child anymore. I don't. I love and appreciate y'all. I'm so thankful for how y'all give and how y'all so generous and how y'all take the time, energy, and attention and pour it into this. But when it's all said and done, I don't need your validation, because I know who I got to get right with. I know who I have to be aligned with. And it's not no damn free Palestine whack job on the side of the road or, in the middle of the street trying to stop traffic because they want to virtue signal to the rest of their, woke leftist ideologues that they stand for something and they're doing something in this world because they want a little bit of attention. Or some of those who actually have the deep disdain and hatred in them, they have been overcome with hatred. Absolutely not. Palestine is a concept, a creation, a caricature made for one purpose and one purpose only: to stop the inevitable from happening. If you catch what I threw right there, you're good to go. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace.
I've been up for hours, I've been up for days, staring at the ceiling, I've been counting strays, I've been in my feelings, I've been out of mind, I've been getting visions of the other kind, I've been up for weeks, I'm in the count of blessings over count of sheep. I can never be the type to limit when it comes to me. I used to be the pleaser for the people I ain't even need.